Well, Bryan Carroll, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you, Rob. How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Glad to have you on a call. Bryan Carroll is the writer and director and producer, chief cook and bottle washer, so to speak, of the great acclaimed movie back in motorcycling movie back in 2013, Why We Ride. We still consider it one of the greatest motorcycle documentaries ever created, ranking right up there with On Any Sunday. And one of the cool things about the movie is not only what it did for motorcycling, but it birthed a movement, really, didn't it, Bryan, in many respects? And it birthed a nonprofit called Motivational Inc., Motivational Incorporated. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so what happened was why we were making Why We Ride. It very much we wanted to our mission on that was why we ride, very much sticking to that statement, why we do it, who we are, we as a community, and what we do is ride, not what or how.
Yeah.
And when we came out of that movie and getting it out to the masses, we saw the good it was doing in areas we didn't expect. Moms, mothers. I can't believe how many women started riding after watching that. How many people like me who hadn't ridden for a while that got back on. But we saw a lot of positive. One of the main things we got out of it was people were happy that we did something positive. So much
Yeah.
to the fact that our social media, Facebook at that time, I don't know if Instagram was really going yet, but we made sure that if people were putting negative stuff on, we would take that down and say, no, no, this is about the positive side of
Mhm.
motorcycling. This is about us as individuals and doing good. Um, and we just saw such an outreach. And before you know it, we had over 1 million followers. So we saw this group of like people who just wanted a place to go and talk about things that are positive and be positive about riding and just a place where they could be share stories and stuff. And Why We Ride started that. The social media side kicked that off. But at the same time, parallel to that, we were kind of going through a bit of a tragedy in our group, which is Joe Northrup, who was our assistant editor, had been fighting tumors and brain cancer since he was a child, and it finally caught up to him towards the end. So much that the last month or so of the movie, he had to go and spend time with his family,
Yeah. Wow.
and we knew that, and and then we saw him at the premiere, and we lost him.
Mm.
And it was one of those moments where it's like, okay, well, we do we make Wire Right 2 or what is this becoming? And really, we saw this movement in our social media, the positive of it. And we said, well, let's start. We saw what like the Peanut Brain Tumor Foundation was doing. And one thing we found with motorcycles is they're the most giving people you will ever
They
meet.
are. Yes.
You want
They are
to,
indeed.
they'll spend money on parts on their bike, or they'll give it to you if you're helping somebody. And
Yep.
and one guy I remember talking to him said, if you're not on this earth trying to help somebody live or make their life a little better, then why aren't you here? Because that's our
Right.
job. And so we said, well, let's find a way to do that. Let's find a way to. That's how Why We Ride can live on. That's how Why We Ride 2 can happen. Is this will become our mission.
Yeah.
And we started like we love rides. Rides are always a great way to earn money. We definitely knew it was going to be for children and more importantly, their families who are facing brain cancer. We already had a good relationship with the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. So we came up with this idea is we love California. California, we have 360 days to ride. And
Yeah,
most of
for
it's,
sure.
if we go more than 2 minutes drive riding straight, we'll fall asleep on our bikes. We love the canyons. We love the coast. So we came up. There's this great thing that Gordon McCall does every year called Moto Fest, which is kind of like for Pebble Beach, Congress, Islands, cars. That's what it is for motorcycles. We're like, well, now we have an event to go to. So let's spend a couple of days riding up the coast, sharing this great history we have, right? One year we'll take a Camino Real, which is where the missionaries from the 16 and 1700s walked and built all the missions. We'll take the old Wells Fargo Stagecoach Road, which is PCH in that, and really enjoying Share California with people who haven't been before, but for a cause, which was to raise money.
Right,
And
right.
that became
Raise
our
money
first
for the
year.
foundation and
Yeah, we had I think like 18 people show up for it, and we did a 2 day ride, and we take off from Moorport, California, ride through the orange fields, head up through Fillmore around the lake. We go through the great wineries. We actually go stop at one of the wineries. We stop for lunch at the Cold Springs Tavern, which is an old stagecoach place. We
mm,
end up the first night at right on the beach there in Pismo Beach at
mm.
Seacrest. Have a big dinner there that we all sit there and this is why I love like the people that come from Germany or back east in Pittsburgh and stuff. They just love it because
Yeah,
of this
yeah.
experience. Because we're always turning. We're never going straight. Then day two, we take either if PCH is open, which is seldom, unfortunately, we'll take PCH, Pacific Coast Highway. If not, we'll take the old El Camino de Real, which is up to the through the vineyards and a little town of Harmony, which is a glass blowing vineyards and an artist colony, and then we'll end up at the old San Pedro San Antonio Mission built in 1770. And we'll have a big taco truck there and have lunch there, and you get to experience these old missions that really made California, and most of our cities are named after because of these
Mm.
missions. And then we end up going through Carmel River, one of the most beautiful rides in the country. And then we end up in Carmel. And that we used to do that night would be our big fundraising dinner.
Yeah.
And that's where we have our big fundraising. And we'd have all kinds of things for silent auction and raffles and various things. And we used to raise a good amount of money. I think by 2019, we had about 100 people. And we raised, I think, over $20,000 that year.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Oh man.
it was
Yeah.
pretty cool. When we came out of COVID, we realized a lot of things had changed. People didn't have the money really to come on these rides every year because our rides are very VIP. It's like we have a lot of couples that come, a lot of
Mhm.
two-ups because we have a luggage van. We have, so you don't have to haul your luggage with you. Every stop when you get there, we have a truck there with craft service, which is things to munch on, water, drinks to drink. There's flags. We all ride as a group. Every meal's taken care of. So within that ticket price, you just show up. Everything is taken care of except for your gas. You take
You
care of
just
your own gas.
ride. Yeah.
So for a lot of couples and people, and it's a very VIP ride, and we stop at really cool places and the vineyards, and they offer free wine tasting, just various different things like that. So, but anyway, digressed a little bit. So after COVID, we saw the ride was getting a little smaller, which truthfully for me, I love because I love being in that smaller group, that more community group. And
A little more intimate, a little more manageable. Yeah.
because what these rides are about is us just it's a big homecoming. We all come together from around the country and around the world and catch up on what's been happening. So now when we arrive Friday night, we have our own little kind of barbecue dinner there. We stay in these really cool cabins built in the 30s there in Carmel. Saturday morning we get up and we go to the Quail motorcycle gathering, which is if you love motorcycles, you have
It's
hundreds of
Mecca.
thousands of yeah,
Yeah.
it is the Mecca. You see bikes there. There was a time there they had like 12 Vincent Black Shadows. You'll never see that
Oh
anymore.
geez. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
It's amazing.
amazing stuff there. And then working with Gordon McCall, who puts it on, and the Quell. Then we split it off. So we have our Why Ride to the Quell, and now Saturday night we have Why We Ride for Kids fundraising dinner. And
Mm.
that we are all come to that because we're all part of it. But now we have people that aren't on a ride able to come. We have people from the community come. And first year we raised 13,000. The second year we raised 25,000. Last year we raised 50,000 in that one night.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
So and also what we do is each rider on the ride, we have our own little, kind of like the way March of Dimes does it. We have our own little team raising page. So our friends and family, even though they can't on the ride, they can donate $5, $10, $20 to our little things. So we have a little competition, which motorcycle rider raises the most money, and that
Yeah.
becomes part of
Yeah.
that as well. So what it allows two things. If you're like us and you love the ride and the commodity of the ride and the family, you're able to do the ride with us, right? If you're not able to do that, some of our biggest donors aren't even motorcyclists. They just want to help the kids. You're able on Saturday night to go to the Why We Ride for Kids fundraising dinner, and that benefits the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. Every penny goes directly to them for
Mm.
that. So this little movie turned into something that had no idea when we were making it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's why I say when people say, when are you going to make Why We Ride 2? I'm like, that's kind of what we kind of did. This is the natural thing. And I don't believe in coincidence. I'm a very spiritual person, and I see when something is, when I see something like this grow like this, and what God's doing for this community, I have
Mm.
to keep my eyes and ears open and say, hey, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And if we doubled our money every year the last 3 years, that's where we're at. This year, kind of cool. We have about a dozen riders, so we actually have a lot of openings still. So normally I
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
cut the ride off, which is hard for people, to plan something months in advance. But this is one year that if people wanted to come, this will be the year to ride because there's going to be a small group of us. And that's when it's fun because we all stay together. We're not, what I mean, we don't get
You
broken
become
up on the
you become
roads.
really good friends by the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're just, because it's funny when you do these rides, there's only, and the thing too is we're stopping every 60 to 90 minutes. It is a VIP ride, you know what I mean? Because there's one, so much stuff to see. Two, we're in the canyons. we're turning all the time. We're not on the 101 doing 80 miles an hour. You know what I mean?
True.
We get up to 35, we're doing pretty good through these canyons. I love when Brian Clock and some of the guys used to come down from South Dakota, and they're big Indians and baggers, and they come down and they're like, "I got a workout." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's awesome." He says, "Oh no, it's awesome.
They're
It's like
scraping
riding a bike."
floorboards all
Yeah,
day.
you know? And it's like, it's very much that kind of a ride. So yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
You
hope
know,
I kind of touched on
when
everything
I
that you
think
were.
about it, I mean, it's some of the most beautiful riding in America, not just in California or the West Coast. And then, with a great fellowship of people, great places to stay, great experiences along the way. The Quail motorcycle gathering. I
Amazing.
mean, and then, all of it not only is enjoyable, but it's for a life and death cause, the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. It doesn't get any more important than that.
No,
And
and their participation is amazing. We couldn't do it without them. They're very much involved in selling the tables and stuff. And if you look at how much of their money actually goes to helping kids, it's big, and that's an
yeah,
important thing in charities.
they're
You
the
know,
real deal.
yeah, it's
They
the
really
real deal.
are
And we'll
making a real
have like
difference in real lives.
yeah, and one cool thing we do for Saturday night is we let people sponsor or buy a table, even though they can't be there, and then we give that table to a star family, a family that is
Hmm.
affected, that has a kid who's going through this, or perhaps has lost a kid, or is about going through that.
Yeah.
So they get to come and be there. And you get to actually meet the people that we're helping.
This is very special that I can be here to somewhat attempt to fill in my 6'6" father's size 13 boots.
And for them, it's a great night out with a five-star meal, so they get to be part of something as well and be there. And you get to really see what we do and how much we do it and how much fun we have doing it. I mean, that's the thing is we get to help, but we get to go on these amazing rides and do all these amazing experiences and just have fun and very much just it's such a companionship that we have on these rides and I've been on a lot of rides throughout it. I do the Sturgis rides and various things like that. This is different. This is a bucket list one. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we change it every year too. So you get to see different things and different people come and it really is something to experience.
Now, what's the dates of the ride this year?
This year we'll meet at my house on Thursday, the May 15th.
May
So it's the
15th?
15th, 16th, 17th, and everybody kind of spreads on the 18th and heads back home to their
There
different
you go.
directions there. But the 15th and 16th, we're riding up the coast. The 17th is the Quail, and then the Quail dinner. And then the 18th, everybody kind of heads on back. People heading
Kind of
down to
wraps up and
Nevada. We have
yeah.
people come in as far away as Tennessee, Kentucky. We used to have a guy came over all the way from India. Would make the
Mhm.
trip every year. So it's it's interesting. Just the group's always changing, and I like to say, and the big thing is couples. Because also we have 3, 4 support cars. So if you want to come, but you don't want to ride the whole way, a lot of times, somebody who's bringing their wife or their spouse will just jump in the car for a bit with us. Because
Yeah,
my
yeah.
family is the support. My family, my father-in-law, my mother, my sons, my daughter, everybody works this event. My son drives a truck with a trailer. We have a motorcycle trailer in case somebody breaks down. You know what
There
I
you
mean?
go.
Nobody, oh yeah, no, we have,
Good,
and
good.
if you break down, don't worry. I will, you will jump on my bike. You will continue to ride. We very much want to make this special for those people. So we
Absolutely.
also have some people are just like, can I ride for a little bit? I'm like, sure, jump in. So
So how can people go ahead and register for it if they want to
so
get online and go ahead and register?
yeah, just go to our website, motivational.org. And
Motovational.org. We'll put a
yeah,
link down in the description as well and
great.
a direct link for everybody.
And then just go to our events or how can I help? And you'll see we have multiple things. We do a thing for portraits for veterans. We do another thing
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Like a Book of Charities, one of our big ones.
Hmm.
We do a thing in Sturgis, but go to that. You can click on there. You'll learn everything about it. I'll tell you the day, everything we do throughout the day, pictures of what we do throughout the day. If you want to buy tickets, hit it. It'll go directly to our ticket page. Buy your tickets, and then you'll get a receipt because it's a tax write. Part of your donation is a tax write-off, and there you are. Also, Again, it's a very personal ride. So if you want to know more, just email me directly and I'll be glad to tell you more about the ride. And like I say, we're going to keep this one open until probably a week or so before we actually go, just to allow, because we do have a lower amount of people this year, just to allow people who maybe normally haven't been on the ride before who would like to come on it.
So your email is bc@whywyride.com, or
Put that down there and
all right,
please,
I'll drop that in there too.
it's, like I say, this is not a business. This is personal, what we did
Yeah,
here. It
yeah.
really is.
That's what I like about it. It's just
Yeah.
going to
But
be a
you are,
very intimate, enjoyable ride with a great group of people to a great place, through great places for a great cause.
it is.
And we
It
ought to
really
coin
is.
that. That's pretty good.
I like
That's
that.
very good. I like
I'm stealing that,
that.
Rob.
Well, Brian, I appreciate you, man. Stay
No,
on
yeah.
with me just for a minute, but we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob. Really appreciate your support through the years.